Hello, I want to welcome you all to our new project called the Zoom Talk Show Faculty Series. I'm Zainab, and I'll be your host throughout our series. Today, I have our Dean of Students, Professor Kim Chao, and Anson Chen, who is a third-year student majoring in Global China Studies here at HKUST. And before we move on with the talk show, I actually want to give a little background information about it. In our Zoom talk show, we're going to be bringing students and our faculty members together to discuss some different topics each week. And this week, we're going to be tackling with COVID-19 related issues and our new online semester coming up. And I know it's a bit of a boring issue at this point because we've been hearing a lot about COVID-19, but please bear with me. I promise this is going to be slightly more useful and fun, hopefully. We're going to try to walk you through our own struggles and experiences, and hopefully it will be helpful for you to see how we are trying to overcome them. And before getting to know our guests, I want to give a couple details about myself, since this is the first episode of our series. My name is Zainab, and I'm a second-year student here at HKUST, majoring in economics and minoring in psychological and behavioral science. I am from Istanbul, Turkey. And for the past couple of months, I've been working with the Dean of Students office to create more content in order to bring our community together and have a more meaningful university life. Now, actually, without further ado, I want to move to Anson and get to know more about her. Hello, Anson. How are you this morning?
I'm good. So I'm Anson. I'm a year 3 local majoring in Global China Studies and minoring in psychological and behavioral science. I'm currently working at ICAC, the Independent Commission Against Corruption, to create more community projects and do researches on upcoming promotion projects. And I'm very happy to join this talk show today to share my experiences.
Thank you so much, Anson. Now I want to turn to our Dean of Students, Professor Kim Chao. Hello, Professor. It's so nice to have you here.
How are you?
Can we get to know you a bit better and your career journey here at HKUST? I think it might also be a great introduction to our new incoming students to get to know faculty a little bit more.
All right. Okay. I'm originally a biology faculty who went through the journey in UST for more than 25 years. But then I moved along the way and doing bioengineering and doing Common Core. And I think the last job that I have actually is as a director of the Interdisciplinary Program Office. Mm-hmm. So as last 2 years, in fact, I was like having a joint appointment as also the acting dean of students. So when my terms of the director of IPO was over, then basically I switched to full-time in the Dean of Student Office. And so that's where I am. I hope that HR will be able to bring some changes to the student body.
That's amazing. I actually want to ask a further question about that as well. How was the change to the Dean of Students, and how is it like to be the Dean of Students? We know that it might be a hard job sometimes.
Yes, it can be a hard job. I think that it depends on actually how you look at it. All along, I think that I have a journey working with students for a long, long time. Since I was in the high school, I've been organizing tutorial classes for high school students, as well as when I was in the college, I was doing the same thing. So I have been working with students all along as a program coordinator. When I was working as academic director for the Common Core, then actually working with students again. A student has been in my heart for a long time, and I have experienced the college education, knowing that sometimes students need to have some guidance. And guidance not necessarily about rule, but it is really about actually what they want to do in the future. And I think that over the past couple of years, through various programs, I find that working with students that allows me to provide a more opportunity and a platform for them to really explore themselves. So I would use a term that university education is about self-discovery. Whether we will have that kind of platform and opportunity to do so is important. And I hope that I think in the Dean of Student Office, we were able to serve that purpose.
Mm-hmm. That is amazing to hear. Now I actually want to move on to the COVID-19 related issue side a bit. And I'm sure it was not easy for you to work during and post COVID-19 as it was for all of us. And as an international student living on campus, I also had my fair share of struggles, to be honest, especially when we first changed it to online semester back in the spring semester of 2020. I had a big challenge of adapting to online learning. because I would normally define myself as a manual learner in face-to-face classes. And to be honest, by the time I figured out how to make the most of my online learning experience, it was already the end of the semester and I had failed one of my courses. And apart from that, the travel restrictions all around the world kind of made me trapped outside of my own country because I couldn't go back to Turkey. And one more problem that I had to face is that I am financially independent from my family, so it was a bit hard to keep myself stable financially during those times. And collectively, these came together and I was experiencing very high levels of anxiety and panic attacks from time to time. And it was my experience as an international student. To be honest, I am a bit also curious for Anson and how it was for you as a local student in HKUST.
So, well, I had struggled a lot at the beginning of having the online classes, as last semester I had 4 continuous projects, and some are even with unfamiliar group mates. I had faced difficulties in finding ways of communication, and also as a pre-junior student, I was expected to have a personalized, well-planned career plan. But because of the outbreak of COVID, the market are becoming more competitive and many companies are lowering their budgets because of the financial pressures. So the number of people hiring are decreasing rapidly. So I felt so overwhelmed and lost about my future pathway. Well, everyone struggles, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how about you, Professor, both from a personal perspective or from the university perspective, how was it for you during the COVID-19 situation?
Okay, maybe I'll split it into 2 parts. I think on the personal side, I think that online education actually has not been totally new for me. I've been teaching a MOOC course for a couple of years. And also I've been using the Zoom for the past 4 years in teaching an international course with students coming from Mexico, from Japan and Philippines and all this. So therefore, I'm quite experienced with the use of that platform. But certainly, I think that when we move to on campus, I noticed there's a difference. When we are offering classes, our student may not be used to the way that it is done online. So you may encounter that a lot of students, they refuse to turn on their video. And so suddenly you find that you may be talking to a blank screen with no faces there. And so it is a little bit awkward, right? So you're talking to the computer, talking to the mirror, something like that. You just need to get used to it. But then I think that I encourage that for all the first-year students, when they come in, if they learn to turn on their video, actually that can help because it helps you to feel that you're engaged in a community and talking. Putting technical side in one way, that we can also focus on the deliverable. Now, in the class, suddenly you notice that in an online class, when you're facing just the faces, it is very different from going into the classroom. You can walk around, you can start a chat with a student or the other, but then when you're in an online class, sometimes it's more difficult to do that. And you know that students' attention span may not be that long when you're facing a computer, so therefore you need to break down a lot of your class material into packets that you can deliver it maybe a couple of minutes, then you focus on one thing and you need to make a joke here and there, and then using example to chat about a lot of other things in order to keep everybody engaged. I think the style need to be changed a bit. And I have to admit that not necessarily everybody would be professional in doing that. And we are learning. So in a way that I feel that I'm like a student, as the same as the student who is sitting on the other side. We are both learning about delivery as well as on the receiving end. So I think that's something that we need to learn about. But from a university standpoint, I think that it is a situation that is not totally under our control. Because actually we would not be able to meet face-to-face. And we have been organizing a lot of workshops for our faculty and staff to get them used to it. And you may recognize that when we started using Zoom in last November compared with this spring, and certainly you have seen some improvement over time. And I believe that when we are running that online courses in the fall, I believe that it will be even better, because actually we learn a bit in the experience, as well as that we have identified tricks and tips to improve it. And so I hope that you can anticipate a much better operation of the online courses.
Hopefully, but as you said, we're all learning together, and we definitely see a big improvement as well, and it will only get better from now on, hopefully. Personally, I have used a couple of tactics myself that can be maybe useful for other continuing or incoming students. For every academic problems that I have experienced, I have just reached out to my professors the whole semester. I have been just like sending out hundreds of emails, and I think that was one thing that definitely saved my semester. And at the end of the day, I can easily say that I had a fruitful semester in terms of learning experience. That was really important. And one more thing, that at the end of the semester, when I finally figured out how to use online learning for my best interest, I actually sat down and looked at the things that I have done wrong and that I have done right. It was like a deep personal reflection journey for me. And I think it is pretty useful for 21st century individuals like us who are aiming to be maybe business pioneers, science or engineering pioneers. These are some crucial skills to learn of how to personally reflect on yourself. And again, that is some advice that I would give. And lastly, I have mentioned that I have struggled with high levels of anxiety. For that, I definitely reach out to our counseling center. And this is not a paid ad or something, but really they've been super helpful for me. And I know many students around campus actually know that they could use our counseling center's help. However, they are a bit afraid to maybe perceived as sick, but it is definitely not like that. It is perfectly normal and human. We are all ambitious individuals who are aiming for greater things. Therefore, it is sometimes definitely useful to seek some help. And actually, again, I want to turn to Anson and ask, how did you overcome your struggles, and what tactics can you give us?
So how I encounter it? Well, I felt that crisis creates opportunities. So actually the pandemic had facilitated the growth of technology. So many facilitation tools online are good to use, and it actually assists me a lot. Like Slack is a channel-based messaging platform, and it is connected to different software tools, which help me to communicate better with my group mates. And also using Airtable is like a spreadsheet of with clear division of labor and the progress of each task. So actually these tools are free online, and I learned how to use it, and it actually helped me a lot. So actually UST also helped me to develop my skills to like getting to the expectation of what the market wants. So I joined the free Coursera courses provided by UST. So there are many courses like Python, writing JavaScript, and I think these really helped me to find myself in technology in a way. So I think all the UST students should learn more about facilitation from the university, because they are free.
Exactly. And Professor, you have mentioned how was the online semester for you, and how are you tackling the issues that, like, for example, you said that you were hosting some online workshops for the faculty members as well. So I actually want to ask you, what advices can you give us as we are the students of HKUST in terms of online learning? What some are the advices that we can use?
Well, I think that I would look at it in this way. If you project into the future about education, do you think that actually you will be able to learn everything in the class, which is sufficient for you to survive in your future career? And certainly that's not. The online education, in fact, allows us to start exploring that there's a lot of opportunity out there. I think, as Anson said, actually there's a lot of free courses. There are a lot of free technology that you can use. And sometimes we may be overwhelmed by all these technologies. I recall at one point, actually, I have like a WeChat and WhatsApp and all the email, and then having been in the middle of a Zoom course, then you'll find that actually you have images or messages being sent in all the time. And it's just like an overwhelm that you can't handle. Now, you need to set priority. But at the same time, you know that when you go out there are opportunities and resources that you can use. Now, the university gives that platform that allows you to explore that. But at the same time, we hope that we would provide that kind of network and support, including, for example, since I was talking about the counseling unit, right? We have the career center, we have the different co-curricular group. They would provide individuals. We have our staff, our faculty that can interact with you. But you need to be active. You can't simply sit here and hope that they will reach out to you. And if you're simply passively waiting for information, sorry, you are losing it. But at the same time, sometimes these kind of opportunities go right at your doorstep. The question is whether you want to open the door. And sometimes our student refuse and they simply close the door and say that, well, I don't know what to do. But on the other hand, they've been like constantly probing you and telling you that it's there as long as you're willing to step forward. I think that's the kind of mentality we want students to have.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. This was amazing, Professor. I think these definitely will help us in the future, especially in the upcoming fall semester. Mm-hmm. And now we actually want to move to the Q&A session. We have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Instagram, we asked students to ask you questions, and they were very excited to do so. Mm-hmm. So I'm starting. The first one is, what is the last thing that you think before sleep? What does our Dean of Students think before going to sleep?
Well, in fact, you may be disappointed. Before I go to sleep, usually I don't think too much. I think my practice, I sleep late, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, like most of our students do. But then when I decide to go to sleep, I would say that I'll forget about what actually I'm doing. I go to sleep. And I'm not the kind of people who would lie down there, start thinking about tomorrow, what to do and whatever. I will finish that all before I go to my bed. And so therefore, once I lie there, I would say, well, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, quickly I go to sleep.
I think that's better than overthinking. And then the second question, how do you reply to emails so fast? Because I think many of our students encountered with you via emails and they think that you reply to emails so fast.
Well, you know that right now you can reply to email anywhere with your iPhone, with your computer, or even with the iPad. Then even though you're in the middle of a meeting, you can still reply email, right? Okay, so I think that my practice is that actually I'm checking emails regularly. And I also have a practice that I try to clean up my inbox. And so maybe the last thing that I did before I went to bed is that I make sure that I clean up my inbox. So that usually my inbox will have only one message. That message is the to-do list for tomorrow.
Amazing.
So therefore, actually, I would say that I normally get most of the reply done within minutes to hours, but usually they won't stay there overnight.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. And then the third question is a bit more personal and, to be honest, funny, to my opinion. Our students are pretty interested to get to know you personally, and they actually have asked, what is your star sign?
I'm Pisces. But then I don't really believe in it. I think that I was reading a bit about astrology when I was in the high school. I admitted that. But then I don't find it is very informative for me. So therefore, I stopped reading it anymore. And so therefore, basically, I don't know actually what kind of direction it's suggesting me to do. And I'm not sure that actually I really belongs to the same group as usually astrology would tell who you are and how you behave. I don't know, right?
Amazing. Thank you so much for your answers and for joining our online talk show, Professor. I want to say a big thank you to Anson as well. And how I can summarize it is, at the end of the day, we don't want to just survive our university lives or survive online learning for now. And since this is going to be a more long-term thing, and I agree with you, Professor, that it's not going to be the same we will keep on trying to find more efficient and better ways of learning by keeping online learning aside at all times, probably. And I think we now understand how important it is that we work all together in terms of fighting COVID-19 and many other problems together in order to experience the best in our HKUST community. Personally, I'm super excited for the upcoming fall semester, and I hope that everybody will have a great one as well. And thank you for watching us. See you in the next episode.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.